What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Stars Insiders podcast. On today's episode, man, I will be going over, well, not really going over, I kind of wanted to skim over this really bad week 8 of Cowboys football, and I want to do some trade talk. So, without any further ado, let's get straight to it, man. All right, let's get straight into this, man. Again, first up, I want to go over this really tough loss we had against the Denver Broncos in this week 8. I kind of wanted to skim over it because, I mean, it was just a piss poor performance from both offense and defense. I expect so much more from the offense, and the defense just played terrible football once again. So, yeah, I kind of want to sort of like glance over this, kind of talk about it here a little bit, but I really want to dive deep in this whole trade deadline because I think there's a couple of things that are pretty interesting. All right, so first up, I mean, again, I'm going to kind of just skim over this and then so I can move on to the whole trade talk I kind of want to get into here. But yeah, once again, another piss poor performance from this Cowboys defense. I mean, it was just terrible from every level. Our defensive tackles couldn't shed blocks. They were getting destroyed at the line. Our defensive ends couldn't seal the edge at any point in the game. Our linebackers continue to look lost, and it's not only Kenneth Murray. It looks like Shamar James too. Linebackers just can't get off of blocks. Not even I guess it is kind of get off of blocks here. One of the main things about the linebackers that I really hate is the fact that they wait for the offensive lineman to climb up to the second level and then clean them up and then just take them out of the play completely. They just show. It feels like they show no effort defensively. The linebackers they show no effort to try to get around the offensive lineman. They can't shed a block. They look lost. They don't know where the running back's going. They don't know their zone assignments. And it's terrible football. And for the corners, it's been the same thing. You know, they can't play zone. They can't play man. I mean, safeties too. I mean, I feel like you can give the safeties a little more grace because literally every single safety on this team is injured. Wanye was injured. Malik Hooker's injured. Donovan Wilson is injured. I think our starting safeties were Elijah Clark and Marquise Bell. I mean, I think I didn't feel like Elijah Clark played terrible. He played well for the player that he is. He's an undrafted free agent that just got called to step up. But, I mean, it was just terrible play from this defense, and it continues to happen week after week, no matter who we're playing. This defense continues to just get shit on every single week, and I really don't know what the fix to this could be, because I'm starting to realize a little something. I feel like this is not all on Matt Eberflus. If you think, I feel like the personnel is absolutely terrible. What Eberflus has to deal with on the cornerback at the cornerback position is just terrible. He has to play with Reedy Stewart. He has to play with Kyer Elam. He has to play with Tre'Quez Bridges. I mean, he has to play with terrible players. He has to make the most out of these terrible players. I mean, he can't. I don't think he makes the most out of these guys. They play terrible. I feel like we had other coaches that did pretty well when they had other guys. They had lower tier guys step up, kind of like Dan Quinn. I feel like Dan Quinn did a good job of getting his guys prepared and ready to step up. But Eberflus, I feel like, has been dealt a really bad hand because he doesn't have the guys that he needs. I mean, he's not helping a whole bunch either. These corners, I mean, it doesn't matter what they're running. If they're running zone, they don't know their assignments. They look lost in the backfield. Not in the backfield, and just yeah, I guess the backfield of the defense. They just look terribly lost. That goes for their safeties as well. They look lost. They don't know what they're doing, and when they're playing man coverage, they just can't guard the receivers one on one. It's really just bad, like terrible football. This is one of the worst defense I've ever watched. I think this might be the worst defense I've ever watched, honestly. But yeah, Eberflus has been dealt a terrible hand. But he's also not helping out too much. He doesn't really play to the strength of his players. The main example I feel like has been Donovan Wilson. Donovan Wilson is a box safety, and I feel like I see him way too many times being the one high safety up top, and relying on Donovan Wilson to cover someone is just not a recipe for success. But that's kind of what I had right now for the defense. Defense is absolutely horrible. And now moving on to the offense, I feel like, I feel like I'm extremely disappointed in this offense. I feel like this is an offense that can score 40 plus points every single game. I feel like this is a team that can be extremely dominant in the run with Javonte Williams and even a little bit of Jadon Blue. I feel like they can be extremely dominant as a run team. They can be extremely dominant as a pass team. But they're not showing. They didn't show great stuff this past week. They weren't converting on some third downs, and I feel like Schottenheimer got scared on a couple of these fourth downs that I feel like he should have gone for. And that first possession where Traquise Bridges picked off Bo Nix, we moved the ball down the field pretty easily with CeeDee Lamb, just a bomb to CeeDee Lamb. We were inside the 5. What do? We run the ball. I'm pretty sure we ran the ball once, and then we threw the ball another 2 times, and then that was it. We couldn't score. We ended up with another 3 points. And that's one of the biggest problems I feel like with the coaching on offense is some of these really questionable play calls from Brian Schottenheimer, where you don't run the ball when you're supposed to, and then sometimes I feel like he gets a little too fancy and he tries to do these really weird screens that just kind of mess up the whole flow of the offense, and he doesn't really let Dak Prescott do what he has to do. And I feel like this game kind of goes more offensively. I feel like this game kind of goes more on the coaching because it was really bad play calling. I feel like you need to give Dak Prescott just a better shot. And I know Dak Prescott did throw 2 interceptions, which obviously is not good either at all when you're trying to win a football game. But, when you're playing down, Dak Prescott doesn't tend to play great. When you're down this much, Dak doesn't tend to play great. He tends to kind of force stuff, try to get stuff going. He forces stuff and gets picked off, and yeah. This game, I feel like offensively, defensively was a mix of just bad coaching and really just horrible coaching. Horrible coaching from both sides of the football. And I hope they can turn it around somehow. I don't know if the addition of Ravel and Overshown will really make a huge impact to where we'll become a very, not even a good defense, but really a threat defensively. I don't think that's enough. And we'll talk about, I'm going to talk about that a little more here when I get into this whole little trade deadline talk, but we need a lot on defense. We need a lot on defense. We need a corner. We need a linebacker. We need a safety. We need a defensive end. We need a defensive tackle. We literally need every position on defense. And that comes again just a really bad roster building and a couple of really bad couple of years of drafting. And this is what happens, or your defense is terrible. I feel like you've been really good drafting offensively. You've been pretty solid drafting your offensive linemen. You've built your offensive lineup pretty well. I feel like they honestly played a decent game last week. I mean, this past week against the Broncos. I feel like Tyler Guyton didn't play terrible. He didn't play good. He did not play a good game, but I feel like he didn't play terrible. He honestly did not play bad, considering who he was playing against. Same with Terrence Steele, going against Nick Bonito, one of the probably a top 5 edge in the NFL, and Jonathan Cooper, another really good edge that the Broncos have. That's really all I have right now for this whole Cowboys talk. Cowboys Broncos talk. I kind of wanted just to go over this like slightly and then move on to this other point. So I hope we manage to turn this around, win next week against Arizona, which I will be attending the game. So I hope we do win. But yeah, I hope we find a way to turn around defensively and offensively. I honestly really do expect more. Again, I feel like this is a team that can score 40 every single game, but they kind of hold themselves back a little bit. But yeah, with all that being said, let's go on to what I really want to talk about, which is this whole trade deadline. Alrighty, so I feel like this whole trade deadline thing has gone really interesting these past couple of days, even these past couple of weeks. Kind of just talking about how you can add to this defense, how you can improve this defense, how you can improve the team, how you can help in the future. And I feel like there's a couple of ways that you can go upon this trade deadline. I kind of want to go over just these 3 scenarios that I feel like are very, very possible for this Cowboys team. I'll start out by number 1. I feel like I was gonna say the most boring one, but I feel like it's kind of the right move, sort of, kind of. It's just sort of the right move, but I feel like I feel like you can just play it conservative. Save up your picks, save up those 1, save up the 2 you have, save up that 4, that 5, that 6, that 7. Save up all of your picks and just go into the draft. You're not just chalking up the season like you're not saying the season already ended, but you're kind of like there's no point in really helping. This team is terrible. We really can't do something right now that'll help this team exponentially. That you'll make a trade. That's what I feel like is one of the scenarios that I feel like could be going through this front office's head right now. It's just like this is a lost cause. Let's just wrap it up. Not wrap it up, but let's see what we can do this year. See if we can make a push with the guys we have right now, with the guys that we have returning, and if we don't, it's cool. We'll keep our picks and we'll draft. It's a little boring, but it's not really a bad way to go about this. And scenario number 2. Scenario number 2 for me here is not as boring, but it won't be too exciting. It won't really do too much, which I feel like is something. This is a thing that the Cowboys have done these past couple of years, where it's like you can trade some of your mid-round picks, trade like a 4th, a 5th, a 6th, a 7th. Maybe get 1 or 2 young players that can come in and start for this team. I'm just thinking about defense right now. I'm not thinking about offense at all. I think this offense is amazing as it is. I really don't think there's something you can add to this offense that will make it exponentially better. I think this offense is already really, really good. But yeah, you trade one of these 4ths, these 5ths, these 6th, these 7th round picks. You go and get a starter or 2. And I don't think it's a horrible thing, but this is not really aggressive. This is not really a whole like an all-in type of scenario. This is kind of just to build for the future a little bit. Again, you get yourself a decently young player. You get yourself a starter that can help this team this year. That can maybe help you make a push for the playoffs. In this scenario, it'd probably be getting like an edge or something, like a Jalen Phillips, like a Bradley Chubb, like a Jermaine Johnson for like a fifth, like a sixth, something like that. Maybe, and then maybe another guy, maybe like another linebacker like Logan Wilson, or I really can't think of other linebackers right now, but that's one of the names that's been floating around a little bit here. Maybe let's say that. Let's say it's Jermaine Johnson and Logan Wilson. Those are guys that can come in and start. I'm not gonna say they're gonna have a huge impact. They're not like world beaters. They're not the most insane players, but they're guys that can come in and help contribute. They're decently young guys that are kind of for the future of this team, that can help in the future of this team. But yeah, it wouldn't be like a crazy move. It might help you push for the playoffs. It might not. You might say the same. You might not. But one that I feel like is really interesting, and I feel like it's something the Cowboys have sort of been entertaining, because there's been reports that the Cowboys did engage and kind of engage with the Raiders for Max Crosby. They supposedly rebuffed the Cowboys, and they said we're not trading Max Crosby, but I feel like that's a whole bunch of bullshit. I feel like they'll trade him for the right price. So let's say this. Let's say you're like, all right, fuck it. Let's try to let's try to really make a push here for the playoffs. Let's try to really make a push here for maybe a playoff run. And not also for a playoff run. I feel like these two are guys that can help right now. That can help you make a push for the playoffs, but that can also help in the future, because they're decently young guys. And one, I'm talking about Max Crosby, and two, one of the names that's been kind of going around here these past couple of days is Quinnen Williams. Compensation for Max, kind of like a little estimate. Let's say 2 first-round picks. Let's say you're giving up 2 first-round picks for Max Crosby. You're giving up your 2 firsts you got from Green Bay. You're giving them to the Raiders, and you're going and getting a top 3 edge rusher in the NFL. There's been rumors. There's been some sort of a rumor, and I've been hearing from very really trusted sources, guys that are really in this thing, that the Jets might be willing to move Quinnen Williams for a 2nd-round pick, which I feel like if that's a real thing, I feel like you go out and do it. Even if you don't go out and get Max, I feel like you have to engage. You have to see if they'll actually do that trade, because if they're actually down to do just a trade for Quinnen Williams, just straight up a 2nd-round pick, I'm doing that in a heartbeat. I feel like Quinnen Williams is automatically your best one tech on your team. And in the case you get Quinnen Williams, you'll have kind of like a rotation of Kenny Clark and Oso Odigizua, which I think that's really good. Obviously right now your one tech is Kenny Clark, which he hasn't been playing extremely well. But you'll be rotating him with another really good 3 tech, which would be Oso Odigizua. And then you have just your main guy in the middle, just a really big dude, and Quinnen Williams. I think that's really dangerous. And if you're really feeling ballsy and you want to go out and get Max Crosby as well, I say go out and do it. Why not? It may cost you being able to re-sign George Pickens, but I'd be willing to let go of George Pickens if it means that you're going out and getting another 2 all-pros at their respective positions on defense. If you're getting these 2 guys, I'm like, all right, it's cool. You know, it was a fun run with Pickens. We can go out and get another guy. We don't really need another like one really next to CeeDee Lamb, because I feel like we've seen Dak Prescott play good with okay receivers. You've seen this offense play okay. Not okay. You've seen this offense play pretty well with just an okay 2 at receiver. because you'll still have Javonte Williams, that which I think you'll probably re-sign. You'll still have Javonte. You'll have CeeDee Lamb. You have Jake Ferguson. You'll have Ryan Flanoy. I think Ryan Flanoy can step up and be really good. We've seen him step up and be really good. But I feel like I feel like that's a really really interesting, really interesting scenario here for the Cowboys. Is going out and going just full aggressive mode and trading for Max Crosby and Quinn Williams. Is it extremely unlikely? Probably, but I'd 100% entertain that scenario, because once again that helps your team right now make a playoff push, and even a playoff run. Not only does that help right there, it also helps in the future because these guys are guys that are already in contracts. They already have a contract. You don't have to re-sign them. You don't have to really deal with that whole crap. They're those types of guys. They have a contract and they're young. They're decently young. Crosby's 28. Really, I feel like he's gonna be good until he's like 34, 35. I think until then you'll start to see a major drop off. But you'll have Crosby for another like 3. I think it's 3 years, and then same with Quentin Williams. I think he got re-signed last year, if I'm not mistaken. You'll still have him for like another 3 years. So I think those are some things that are possible. I think the most realistic one is the Cowboys go out and trade for 1 or 2 mediocre players and call it a day. It's what they've done for the past couple of years, and I really wouldn't put it past them to just do that again and really just waste the potential of this offense. So with all that being said, man, that's gonna be the end of today's episode. I hope you guys really did enjoy. I'm sorry for my absence. I've been really busy with work. I've been really busy with a whole bunch of stuff going on, man. But I'm gonna try to keep bringing out videos. Try to keep helping out some videos. Please make sure to like, share, subscribe. Really helps me out. Really motivates me to keep posting these episodes for y'all. So all that being said, thank you guys for watching once again. God bless each and every single one of you guys. And yeah, peace.